Beneath creation lies a prison so dark, so terrifying. Even demons beg never to be sent there. The Bible calls it the abyss, the bottomless pit. But why did God seal it? And what horrors are waiting to be unleashed when that seal is finally broken? In this journey, we'll uncover the mysteries of the abyss, Revelation's vision of smoke, and monstrous locusts, the fallen watchers chained since the days of Enoch, and their king, Abaddon, the destroyer. We'll explore why God locked this prison and why prophecy says one day it will open at the final judgment. What's really inside? The answer may shake everything you thought you knew about heaven, hell, and the end of days. When the Bible speaks of the abyss, it uses the Greek word abyssos, literally the bottomless pit. It's not just a poetic image. It's described as a vast, inescapable prison buried deep beneath creation itself. And here's the first shocking twist. The abyss is not hell. Hell, or Gehenna, is the final lake of fire, the eternal place of punishment described in Revelation 20, verse 14 to 15. But the abyss, it's different. Think of it as a maximum security holding cell, a temporary prison where the most dangerous of God's enemies are chained until their appointed day of release. We see the clearest glimpse of this in Revelation 9, verse 1 to 3 and 11. John describes a terrifying scene. I saw a star fall from heaven to earth, and to him was given the key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. When he opened it, smoke rose like the smoke of a great furnace, and out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth. And they had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek Apollyon, the destroyer. It's like the gates of a cosmic prison opening, unleashing horrors the world has never seen. But this wasn't just imagery for John. Other passages prove the abyss is real, and it terrifies even demons. In Luke 8, verse 30 to 31, when Jesus confronted the man possessed by a legion of demons, they begged him, "Please, don't send us into the abyss." Think about that. These spirits weren't afraid of Jesus casting them out into the wilderness. They feared being locked in the abyss. That shows us it's a real place of torment and confinement, so dreadful that even the powers of darkness want to avoid it at all costs. And then there's Revelation 20, verse 1 to 3, a prophecy about Satan himself. John writes, I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand the key to the abyss and a great chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and threw him into the abyss, and shut it, and sealed it over him. So the abyss is no myth. It's not a metaphor. It is a divinely sealed prison for fallen angels, demonic powers, and ultimately, Satan himself. And the Bible tells us that the abyss is locked for now. But at the appointed time, God allows it to be opened, unleashing chaos upon the earth. The big question is, who or what is imprisoned there right now? To answer that, we need to go back to the ancient story of the Watchers. To truly understand why the abyss exists, we have to go back, way back, to one of the strangest and most mysterious stories in the Bible. In Genesis 6, verse 1 to 4, we read, When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Who were these sons of God? Ancient Jewish tradition and the book of Enoch pulls back the curtain. These were angels, often called the Watchers, who were supposed to guard and guide humanity, but instead they rebelled. According to 1 Enoch 6, 200 of them descended onto Mount Hermon, led by a powerful angel named Semjaza. There they made a pact, an oath, that they would abandon heaven together, taking human wives and sharing in mankind's desires. Their rebellion wasn't just lust, It was a calculated move to corrupt the human race. The book of Enoch tells us that they didn't only take wives, they taught humanity forbidden knowledge, secrets that God had not intended for mankind at that time. Some taught the art of war, turning men into violent killers. Others revealed sorcery and enchantments, leading people into idolatry. Azazel, one of their leaders, showed humans how to make weapons of war and jewelry to stir vanity and lust. Humanity was being reshaped into a violent, corrupted civilization. The children of this unholy union were called the Nephilim, giant beings of immense strength and cruelty. They devoured the land, dominated mankind, and spread wickedness across the earth. These were not just heroes of old, but monstrous tyrants, remembered in myths of giants and demigods across cultures. The corruption became so severe that God declared the earth was filled with violence and wickedness. In Genesis, this leads directly into the story of the Great Flood. But before the waters came, God judged the angels themselves. Of course, Enoch 10 gives us the divine verdict. God sends the archangels Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel to act. Azazel, the one who corrupted mankind with weapons and vanity, is cast into a pit in the desert, bound hand and foot and covered with jagged rocks. The other watchers are seized by Michael and his hosts, bound in chains, and cast into a place of utter darkness until the day of judgment. Listen to the words. Bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is for all eternity is accomplished. In other words, the Watchers, the angels who abandoned heaven and corrupted mankind, were imprisoned in the abyss. This isn't just found in Enoch. The New Testament confirms it. 2 Peter verse 2-4 says, For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment. The word translated as hell here is Tartarus, a Greek word for the deepest, darkest abyss of the underworld. Peter is echoing the very story Enoch told. And then Jude 1 verse 6 declares, And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in everlasting chains under darkness for judgment on the great day. Both apostles, Peter and Jude, point back to this ancient event. These angels are not roaming freely like demons today. They are locked away in the abyss. Their prison exists because of their rebellion. So when Revelation 9 describes the bottomless pit being opened and terrifying beings flooding out, it may well be speaking of the Watchers themselves or their monstrous offspring being released once again at the end of time. The abyss is their cage, and the key hasn't turned yet. But this raises an even deeper question. If the Watchers are locked away, what about the other fallen angels and demons we see active in the world today? And what does it mean for the final judgment when the abyss is opened again? The question lingers like smoke on the battlefield. Why did God lock the abyss? And why hasn't he destroyed it already? The answer is not about weakness, it's about strategy. The abyss is not a mistake of creation, it's part of God's timetable. Reason 1. To restrain evil. Imagine the world if the Watchers, the angels who corrupted humanity in Genesis 6, were free right now. These beings taught sorcery, weapons of mass destruction, forbidden arts. They blurred the line between heaven and earth, leaving behind chaos. If they roamed the earth unchecked, the corruption of mankind would accelerate beyond repair. Humanity would not survive. The abyss, then, is a prison of mercy, a divine restraint protecting us from a darkness far older and far more destructive than anything we've seen. Reason 2. Divine judgment has a schedule. The Bible is clear. Judgment is not random. It is timed. Revelation 9:15 speaks of 4 angels, bound, waiting, kept ready for the hour, the day, the month, and the year. Think about that. Even their release is marked on heaven's calendar. Evil doesn't move unless God allows it. The abyss is a holding cell, not forever, but until the appointed time when judgment and justice intersect. Reason 3. The final battle. The abyss is not just sealed, it is reserved for the climax of human history. Revelation paints the picture. When the pit is opened, smoke and terror pour out, and the world faces its darkest trial. But their release is not victory. It is their last stand. Their freedom signals the countdown to their destruction. The abyss is God's trap. He lets the enemy gather its strength, only to unleash it into the final battlefield, where evil will burn itself out against his glory. This is why the abyss is not merely locked, it is sealed by divine authority. Every chain, every bolt, every layer of darkness around it exists because God said, "Not yet." The pit waits, silent, until the heavens give the order. Because the abyss isn't just a prison, it's a prophecy. When the smoke of the abyss rises in Revelation 9, the world does not just face chaos, it faces a commander. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon and in Greek Apollyon, that is, destroyer. Revelation 9, verse 11. The name Abaddon, Apollyon. This title is not casual. It is a declaration of identity. Whoever he is, his entire purpose is destruction, and he stands as the ruler of the prison no one wants to escape from. The debate. But who exactly is Abaddon? Here, scholars and theologians divide. View 1. Angel of God's judgment. Some argue that Abaddon is not demonic at all, but a divine instrument. Just as God sent the angel of death over Egypt during the Exodus, Abaddon could be heaven's executioner, released to carry out judgment at the appointed time. View 2. Fallen angel, ruler of the abyss. Others point to the language of Revelation, the king of the pit, leading locusts that torment humanity. This sounds less like an angel of light and more like a general of darkness, perhaps even one of the Watchers or a high-ranking principality bound until the end. Both views agree on one thing. Abaddon is terrifying. He is not a free agent. He only moves when the key is turned and the seal is broken. But once unleashed, he leads with devastating authority. Role in prophecy. So why does Revelation spotlight him? Because Abaddon may be more than a figure of destruction. He could be the orchestrator of the end-time army. The locusts that rise from the pit in Revelation 9 are not ordinary insects. They are a symbolic supernatural force. Tormenting, unstoppable, immune to earthly weapons, and they answer to one king, the destroyer. Abaddon is not the final enemy. That title belongs to Satan himself, but he may be one of the most feared generals in the last rebellion against God. Whether executioner of divine wrath or commander of infernal armies, Abaddon embodies one truth. The abyss has a king, and when he rises, the world will tremble. But his reign will be short-lived, because even the destroyer is still subject to the one who holds the key. The difference between abyss, hell, and the lake of fire. When people hear hell, they often lump every image of fire, darkness, and torment into one place. But the Bible makes sharp distinctions between the abyss, hell, and the lake of fire. Hell, Gehenna. The word hell often translates the Hebrew Gehenna, a real valley outside Jerusalem once used for child sacrifice, and later as a burning trash heap. By the time of Jesus, it had become a symbol of fiery judgment. Gehenna, the imagery of consuming fire, eternal separation from God. It echoes the place Jesus warned about when he said, "Better to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into Gehenna." Matthew 5, verse 29, the lake of fire. But the book of Revelation takes this further. In Revelation 20, verse 14, John writes, "Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death." This is the final destination, the eternal place of punishment for Satan, his angels, and all who reject God. There is no escape, no parole, no end. Think of the lake of fire as the permanent prison, the everlasting judgment, the abyss, and now, the abyss. Unlike Gehenna or the lake of fire, the abyss is not the end. It's a holding place, a temporary prison, sealed until the appointed time. Revelation 20, verse 1 to 3. Satan himself is bound there for 1,000 years. Luke 8, verse 30 to 31. The demons beg Jesus not to send them into the abyss because they know it is a place of torment before the appointed hour. It is not eternal fire. It is a pit of confinement, a maximum security lockup where God restrains the most dangerous spirits until his plan unfolds. So here's the distinction. Gehenna, hell, symbol of fiery judgment. The abyss, temporary prison for fallen angels and demons. The lake of fire, eternal destination, the final death. The abyss is not hell. It is darker, deeper, and, for now, sealed. But one day, the pit will open, and everything inside will be unleashed before being cast into the lake of fire forever. For thousands of years, the abyss has been sealed. But the Bible tells us the day is coming when that lock will break, and what's been hidden will pour out onto the earth. Revelation 9 opens with one of the most haunting visions in all of Scripture. The fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss, and out of the smoke locusts came down on the earth. Revelation 9, verse 1 to 3. Picture it. A star fallen from heaven, given authority to unlock the abyss. The prison door creaks open. Suddenly, an eruption, a violent storm of smoke, thick as tar, darkening the skies. The earth gasps as sunlight fades into choking shadow. From this black cloud, they emerge. Not ordinary insects, but apocalyptic locusts, terrifying beyond imagination. They swarm with the sound of rushing chariots, their wings roaring like thunder. Their faces are human, their teeth like lions, their tails like scorpions. Their mission? Not to destroy the earth or its vegetation, but to torment mankind. For 5 months they sting, and their sting is so unbearable that people will long for death. But death will not come. And leading them, Revelation 9 verse 11 reveals their king, Abaddon, Apollyon, the destroyer, the very angel of the abyss. But this isn't the end. Revelation 20 brings the story full circle. An angel descends with the key once more, this time to bind Satan himself, casting him into the abyss for 1,000 years. The gate is slammed shut, the world breathes again, and yet, after the millennium, he is released. Satan emerges to rally the nations for one last, futile war against God. But this time, fire falls from heaven. The abyss gives way to the final judgment. Satan is hurled into the lake of fire, where the beast and false prophet already are. Never again will he escape. The abyss is temporary. The lake of fire is forever. So here is the chilling question for us today. Were John S. locusts literal monsters, creatures of nightmare unleashed on the world? Or are they a vision of something deeper, symbolic of demonic forces breaking loose upon humanity in the last days? What do you think? Theological and spiritual implications. Now we ask the question, why would God allow this? Why delay judgment at all? Why not destroy evil once and for all? The abyss reminds us of something crucial. Evil is real, but it is restrained. God seals the pit, proving that even the darkest powers are under his authority. The Watchers, the fallen angels, the demonic forces, they can rage, but they cannot break free until God commands it. 2 Peter verse 3 to 9 gives us a clue. The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise. He is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but everyone to come to repentance. God delays because mercy is still at work. Every moment the abyss stays sealed is another moment of grace, another chance for humanity to turn back to Him. And here's the hope. Revelation 1, verse 18. Jesus says, "I hold the keys of death and Hades." The abyss may be terrifying, but its key is in nail-pierced hands. For believers, this changes everything. We don't need to fear the monsters of the pit or the rise of Abaddon. We stand under the protection of the one who already conquered death, who already triumphed over every power of darkness at the cross. So when we look at the abyss, we don't just see chains, smoke, and terror. We see a warning and a promise. Evil may be unchained for a season, but its end is certain. Its judgment is written. Its king has already been defeated. The abyss is not the final word. The cross is. So let's step back and recap. The abyss, it's not hell. It's not the lake of fire. It's God's sealed prison, a holding place for the darkest forces in existence. The Watchers who fell, the demons too dangerous to roam free, even Satan himself, locked away under divine authority, waiting for their appointed hour. But Revelation makes one thing clear. One day, that seal will break. Smoke will rise, the world will darken, and the terrors within will be unleashed upon humanity. The abyss is real. The question is not if it will open, but when. And here's the real question for you. When that day comes, will you be ready? Because the Bible doesn't leave us hopeless. Jesus Christ, the one who holds the keys of death and Hades, is also the one who holds the key to your future. The powers of the abyss are terrifying, but they are temporary. The power of Christ is eternal. The clock is ticking. The gate will open. The destroyer is waiting. But those who belong to Christ, they already have victory.